Excellent. All right.
Ooh.
We're live.
I think we
Brilliant.
are. Hello,
Brilliant.
everyone.
Hi, everyone. All right, we're doing the wave now. We're doing the snake. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Beckoning, the little podcast slash chat room slash fireside talk that we have every second week. We are streaming live on both Outstars and Josh's Twitch. So, hello to everyone watching. And I hope you guys are having a great weekend because we sure are. We will be talking about the favorite subject of at least two of our present members. Josh, would you also argue that it is your favorite subject?
At the moment, totally.
Brilliant. And it will hopefully be mine as well once we're done. But let's have a little bit of a presentation. Like I said, I'm Chris. I am the Primogen on YouTube and on Twitch, although I am primarily on YouTube, where I do lore videos, I storytell Chicago Stories, season finale coming up this Tuesday. Don't forget to check that out. And I also storytell Changeling the Lost Lulebook Reunion over at the Onyx Path Twitch every Thursday. So catch you guys there. Who wants to? Josh, throwing it your way.
Hello, I'm Josh, and I just released on my YouTube channel Strange Adventures a video about a story from my own campaign in which one of my players decided to take on his rival, who is a vampire drag queen, and they did a BMX off.
I love it.
To see who was better. I don't know what his idea was. He is not a smart character. It was great though. It was very, very funny.
BMX off.
He hired out a half pipe and challenged his rival to a BMX battle. I was like, sure, why not? Because it was a very flamboyant drag queen character who was like, sure, I'll show you up.
I am into that story right now, and I need to listen to it fully.
That's the hope that everyone says that. Yes. Also, I talk about Bloodlines too on my channel. I do all sorts of things. I mean, I'm doing so much roleplay right now. My brain is frazzled. But someone else talk.
I can go if you want. I'm Huddy from Huddyvonschland on YouTube. I do Vampire the Masquerade lore videos, and I talk about actual plays and other things every Masquerade Monday. And on the Primogen's channel, I'm playing my first time playing Vampire, Chicago Stories. That's me. Short and sweet.
Hello, I'm Outstar. I am your Vampire the Masquerade memer, basically. I think it's a proper title for me right now. I'm the walking and talking memer of vampires, and I just do a lot of YouTube stuff about Vampire the Masquerade, where I try to inform people about the lore and the new mechanics and the clans and the history and all that stuff. And I also do a lot of memes on Twitter, where I steal stuff from Discord and Reddit to make everyone laugh from the community. That's basically what I do. So it's super nice to be here with those wonderful people, because today we're going to talk about possibly my favorite subject on the planet as for now. So yay.
Yeah, exactly. We will be talking about Bloodlines 2, the upcoming sequel to the cult classic Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 1, I guess you can call it. The game that came out, oh boy, when was it? 2004, 2005?
Oh. Yep.
Right before Half-Life 2 came out.
Same day, I think.
Same day. It was, around that same time. So it was a brand new engine, and I would say they did as good a job as they could, but it's been patched to hell and back, and it is now one of the best vampire games, if not the best vampire game out there. And the sequel, everyone's super excited about it, but I have been living in a box, so I know very little about the sequel. So I am very excited to hear what you guys can tell me about it. And I think that's going to be the theme of this episode. We're going to talk a little bit about the game. We're going to talk about the premise of the story. We're going to talk about connections to the previous title. We might even talk a little bit about Vain Pursuit and its connection to the story. Well, we'll see what happens. Maybe not. But we made a little list. So if you haven't heard of Bloodlines 2, like me, well, if you've been living in a box, this will be a great primer. And if you want to catch up on stuff you might have missed, this is also a good opportunity. But I do believe that Everyone present except for me have made a lot of Bloodlines 2 videos as well, so you can go check those out on everyone's channels.
So wait, can I just get this confirmation? Because I know for sure that Josh is a total speculative person, just the guy tried to be. And then Huddy, are you also the person who tries to get all the info so far, or are you more on the Primogen side?
Well, I like to play games blind, so when I was really into it when it was the tender beta before the announcement, but once it was announced, I was like, I took a huge step back from it because I'm like, I want to be surprised, but I do know in general what's been released and what we know.
So are you guys both fine, and the audience, are you guys fine with us talking a lot about speculations today?
Absolutely.
That's why I'm here.
On it.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Brilliant. So let's start with something simple, because we all know the usual political layout of a Vampire the Masquerade game, right? Especially like Camarilla City. You have the Prince, you have the Primogen, you have the Anarchs, you might have some Sabbat infiltrators, but not so much as I've heard in Seattle. Like, there's a lot of factions unique to this city. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about those? Because I'm curious. I know very little about them, to be honest.
Do you have a favorite? I'll start with my favorite, and then we can move on to yours.
You can tell about all of them if you want to, and then we can talk about favorites.
Oh, okay. So Bloodlines 2 is going to do it a little bit differently, which is kind of exciting for me, because most of the time you have the Anarchs, you have the Camarilla, you have the Sabbat as the base group. Maybe you have some independent vampires doing their thing. But in this, Seattle has five groups who really, really want something, probably power over the city. And they can be broken down into the Camarilla, who we all know and love, the cutesy ones, the ones who are just, there for a good time. And
the good people.
Yeah. Probably there to do something horrible and oppress other vampires in some sense. You may infer my own leanings from that. And the Camarilla are kind of the archetypical vampire cabal, I guess. You also get the Pioneers, who are the people who originally moved and probably in a couple of cases founded Seattle. They've been there way longer. They probably follow very similar rules to the Camarilla, because as I understand it, they have some sort of deal going on with them. But they are kind of old money, probably quite posh vampires that have been there for a very, very long time, and they don't want to get ousted, which is probably what's going to happen in my playthrough.
Are you going to go Camarilla? So you want to oust Pioneers, or?
I feel like almost all the other factions want to get rid of the Pioneers in some sense, right?
Okay.
Maybe the Unseen don't, who we will go on to next, which I think as a faction mostly represent a kind of Nosferatu-esque group of information brokers. They're the one that I have not researched as much as the others, but they do sound very cool. They're just... there's lots of Nosferatu and a picture of 3 creepy shadow people on their poster, which means that there's something weird going on there.
That's a Council of Frey. That's how.
That's what they're called. Yes,
and that's basically they are being ruled by this Council of Frey per se, which we don't know. We literally don't know any NPC from that faction except for Samuel.
Yeah, so Samuel, who turns up in the game demo that we've seen.
Is that the Nosferatu-esque character you meet in the sewers? Because I've seen that trailer. Yeah.
That's the guy behind the bars.
Oh, right. I've seen the trailer. Yeah.
He has the daddy kind of a cool attitude to him. He has this cool t-shirt and
the adjective you go for is daddy right away. It's a game of dads.
Yeah, and he apparently is like, from what I've talked with devs, and I tried to ask about Samuel, he's this really cool character who just spends tons of time digging up gossip on other vampires. And he's just basically this like, what can I learn about Luke Grant's lingerie? And I think like, like nowadays Nosferatu are not as tied to Camarilla because after the fall of Shreknet, they kind of fell into the persona non grata field. Of course, they're also needed. And I'm sure that Camarilla would totally want them on their side, but I feel like that's probably why there are a separate faction, because they're just, they have their own goals nowadays. They're not as tied to the Cam as they used to be before.
Yeah.
A question on that though. So the Camarilla are actually fairly new in Seattle. That the founders. Oh no, the pioneers were the. No?
Yeah, I was going to say something to what Josh said. If I'm mistaken, correct me. But Lou Reed was a prince, was she not? Yes.
She was.
Okay.
She was the longest reigning prince of Seattle. So that means that pioneers originally were also Camarilla, I would say. But the thing what happened is that Alec Cross, who is the current prince of Seattle, he somehow took over. We don't really know how. But what we can see from the description of the Camarilla on the website is that the new force of the Camarilla, the new kind of power, that is, on the top of the Cam currently, is trying to really turn Seattle into this, let's say, new Silicon Valley. And they're trying to push these new businesses, technologies, and everything, change the whole old Seattle, destroy the old buildings, build the skyscrapers, and build this whole new city where the venture will be in power, and the money is going to be everywhere around and stuff like that. While Lou Grant and the pioneers were the boomers, let's say, the original old people, and they're like,
the
I want
traditionalists.
Yes. Okay. I want these old buildings to be still around.
So for once, the Camarilla are not actually the traditionalists, but rather the innovators.
I would say so. Kind of.
Interesting.
That's a nice twist. I do like that.
Yeah, it's basically the factions are that the reason why the factions are so different is that putting the Camarilla, Anarch, and Sabbat triangle again in the city would be very artificial. That's what Beth's thought. So they wanted to do something which is more tied to the history of Seattle itself. And that's why they dug up all of these historical details about Seattle, how Seattle was built originally, even the historical figures, because Lou Grant is very clearly based on the historical figure of Lou Graham, who was the famous brothel owner in Seattle.
I see.
Yeah, and she was actually known, I was searching Wikipedia articles on her, she was known for a big rack. I just think they kind of got that right. So there's a lot of little hints in here that they are connected.
But that's interesting. I really like it when they implement actual historical facts into their games. And Seattle, I can imagine, must have been like a shipping port initially for lumber and stuff like that, since it's in Washington, right?
It is
the state of Washington.
It is in the state of Washington. Yeah.
So like lumber mining as well, or fishing.
I'm not really sure what the industry was there, but I know that there was a very big internal conflict when it comes to the pioneers themselves. And when you actually will check the map of Seattle, it's super funny from a European perspective, especially because some people owned some part of the city and the other on the other part of the city, and they were disagreeing on everything, including the how the streets should be lined. So one guy in the south said that I want the streets to be lined with the compass, right? So north and
like New York City, kind of, right?
Yeah, and the guys in the north were like, no, we want to align them to the shore. So there's like this, like on the Pioneer Square, which is going to be a location in Seattle. This is actually the moment when the streets change from these to these.
I'm going to have to look at that on Google Maps. That is not something I reckon.
There's a lot of I feel conflict in the history of Seattle, which is going to be used in the game. And for example, also there's this very weird thing about Seattle where there was a big fire in the history, which literally destroyed most of the city. And they were like, okay, we should rebuild the city, but I don't know if there was a risk of flooding or something. I'm not really sure what was the reason for that. But what they did is they left the city, which was built already, the buildings and everything on the level. They built the ladders and started building new city on top of the.
Well, I can tell you why they would do that. If you aren't aware, Washington State is. If you think it rains a lot in England, which I'm sure Josh does, rains a lot there. A
it's
lot
the
of
rainiest,
rain.
It's like the
Right,
rainiest
okay.
part of the U.S., right?
It is the rainiest part of the U.S. Yeah.
Because you got a coastal city, so you got a lot of climate. Like
Mm-hmm.
the weather changed a lot. I know Stockholm, for example, also has a lot of like alternating weather because we're coastal.
Yeah.
That's
So-
cool.
so,
They've
yeah.
done because there's going to be a lot of kind of underground city level elements, from what I understand. So
Yeah, the Unseen are going to have their housing in there, I guess.
yeah.
Their domain, their haven.
Mm.
And what's great is that they literally build a city on top of a city. So when you go to the Seattle Underground on a trip, on like a tourist, you can actually see even the names of the shops and stuff like that, like some old labels underground. And Josh, you have seen the demo of Bloodlines 2, and there was the moment like after we run from the trial that you actually go for the Seattle Underground, and you can see these like old shop windows underground and everything. It's so beautiful.
It's really, really incredible that they literally just built on top. They didn't clear it. They didn't change anything. They were just like, we don't need that anymore.
Yep.
Well, again, I don't know the specific history of Seattle, but I do know, again, as I'm an American, I do know that on the West Coast was a little bit underdeveloped in terms of the East Coast, in terms of people populating it and stuff. So that would probably just be something they would do. Just because there weren't that many people, it wouldn't take as long. So just do that. It's a lot easier. I mean, because Boston and New York burned down a bunch of times, but they rebuilt it. So it's just different.
Why is that a thing in America? Why do all your cities burn down? That's not a thing over here. Like, we've had the Fire of London. That's the big one.
Exactly. I was just going to say, the Fire of London, 1667.
Okay. Put my hands up to that. But that was like a baking accident. And it happened...
I mean, Chicago Fire was a cow, wasn't it?
Josh?
Huh?
Have you ever been to States?
No, I've never been to the States. I've been to Canada, but that's about as close as I'll get.
Older houses look like doll houses. They're wooden, and they are just like, they look so like...
That really depends on where you are. The houses look different depending on where you are.
I can imagine that if you're a smaller city, building a quarry, making bricks, stuff like that is going to be much more difficult than chopping down trees and building houses out of wood. I'm assuming, so that's probably why.
Yes, well, in terms of Boston, why it got on fire is because there was a molasses explosion. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah, molasses like slowly trickling and catching fire.
In the summertime in Boston, in certain parts, if it's really, really hot, it smells like molasses.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I just learned.
I grew up there, so yes.
I just learned recently that LA stinks of semen. I'm sorry, because there's like apparently the tree that has some everywhere, and it just stinks.
Has no one here been to LA?
I've been to LA, but it doesn't stink like that.
Okay, there are these blossoms that are on the tree, and they smell like sweaty man bits.
Okay.
but brilliant.
But
I really want to go.
I've been to just about every state in my life.
Beckoning, where we talk about the hard facts.
And in New Orleans and in the South and stuff, there are these horrible trees that smell like urine in the summer. So it's fun. You should go to America. It's great.
Why did anyone ever leave England?
I love this touristical, agency that Huddy's doing here for the US. Like, I feel
it's brilliant.
I had to explain like how how far the distances are in the States to you guys last time. And I'll say it again for Outstar. Americans think 100 years is a long time, and Europeans think 100 miles is a long way.
That's true.
It is very true. It is very true. But I want to get back to the topic. We have the Unseen, we have the Camarilla, we have the Pioneers. Who else do we have?
Who did we? I missed out 2 more factions.
All right.
That's where we got to. There is also a group of newcomers who are based around, but not exclusively, Tremere. So blood mages who are there for their own mysterious ends and seem to be aligned with Camarilla and came along with them in the new wave, the Camarilla new wave. Yeah. And they have some very pretty people working for them.
It's her.
Yes,
it's Elif, right? Is that how you say her name?
Aleph and Goga. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
Aleph Carmack and Victor Goga, and they're all like they're both so pretty. Probably
I
the prettiest characters.
Yeah.
How are they not the Toreador? I don't know.
I love them. They're
Tremere
beautiful.
can be pretty too.
But the thing about newcomers, okay, so they
Oh,
basically
they're actually called the newcomers?
yes.
Oh,
they're
Yeah.
called
okay.
the
Okay, cool.
So this is like the faction, which is, I feel like, so far what we know, it's exclusively Tremere, but maybe there's going to be more clans involved in it. And also,
Oh yeah, I was inferring that from the kind of choice that happens later in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you can, of course, if you're another clan, you can still help the newcomers. But the thing on how they're politically involved is that they were invited to Seattle by Cross, and they are on the side of the Cross per se. So basically, it's a faction that supports the Camarilla in the city, kinda, or the faction that Camarilla gave a haven in the city. The Prince Cross specifically gave them a university district to stay in and be good mages and probably do something for him. I don't really know. The thing is, there is no definite answer, as for now, about the connection to the V5 lore and the fall of Vienna, which is something that I feel is going to be somehow related to why exactly the newcomers came to Seattle.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I was wondering, like, which house would they be representing? Because
me too.
this is taking place in 2019. So that's after the fall of Vienna, for sure.
Yes.
Interesting. Would they be... How did you call them, Outstar? House Ipsy Dipsy? No, those are anarchs. Those are anarchs.
But the thing is, there is actually the name Pyramid used when it comes to the description of the newcomers.
Yeah. Then they're probably House Tremere or
probably
House.
There's a problem in here. So Golga is never called a regent, never, even once. He's a leader of the newcomers. There is a mention of the pyramid in the description, and when I was trying to dig this information, what I've heard is, well, there is a reason why they are in Seattle now, isn't it? And that's all I know, which is super exciting.
Oh, I want to know. I want to know more.
Yeah, me too.
So why do you think it's related to the fall of Vienna, or is that just the kind of Tremere lore that you think they'll bring into it?
My theory is that they basically, the fall of Vienna is not a public information, at least in Seattle. That's what I feel like. Basically, Tremors appeared in Seattle because maybe it's like they dispersed from other chantries, because the chantries fell in general, and Goga is trying to establish his own pyramid inside of Seattle. I think that would be pretty.
That would make sense, yeah.
Pretty cool. So basically, they know that the pyramids all around the US are slowly dropping, and they know internally that this is not working anymore. The blood bonds are gone. So what do? We try to maybe take over our own.
I was talking with some friends recently about that, because I think a lot of people haven't, like, they're not super obvious about this in the lore, but like every city is its own nation state in Vampire. Like every city is so isolated from the other cities, so that you have the opportunity to create your own sect of Tremere. And like with the fall of Vienna, because like Tremere were the only ones who were so well organized that they had this hierarchy. So that's really interesting that Seattle is so far away from everything else. So yeah, you can basically start your new house Tremere here, and if you don't cause enough waves, nobody's going to bother you. So that's cool. I want to know more about them. So that was the Outsiders.
Yes,
Number
the
5.
Outsiders. And finally, one that I am very, very interested to hear more about is the Baron.
My favorite faction.
Oh, I know why they're your favorite faction.
No, there are multiple reasons. Not only one.
Really? Really? Does he have 2 of them?
God.
The Baron is a mysterious figure in the city of Seattle. We don't know who they are. They're referred to as he. We know that they have an awesome fedora from the art. And we know that Mr. Stabby...
Mr. Moist? What was his name?
Mr. Damp.
Mr. Damp.
Mr. Damp. Mr. Moist is... my speculation is that Mr. Damp is some sort of hitman for the Baron.
It's so bad. Why? We had the new name for him, which was Stabby, and then the new name was revealed, and it turned out
they did a cosplay guide for him, right?
Yes, it turned out the real name of Stabby is even more mimic than Stabby, which is just why.
Why did they choose Mr. Damp? I don't know.
Because of the memes.
It's even more unsettling, though.
No.
Like, he's murderous and terrifying and sneaks up behind and obfuscates and murders this guy in front of you. Is like, you're not worth my time. You're not on the list. He has a list and stuff. And then leaves you alone. But then he's called Mr. Damp, which sounds like some sort of wet clown.
It sounds like the mascot for like the hand towels. Mr. Damp.
Are his like clothes damp? Are his hair damp? I don't know. What is damp in there?
Does he live in a sewer? Does he live in the lake? What is going on with Mr.
We know
Damp?
where he lives, kinda, but we're going to talk about it later. Oh, actually, now maybe. Yeah, I think that's time because we're talking about the faction of the Baron, and it's fun because Baron is the Baron of Aurora, which is a district of Seattle, and it is actually displayed in some of the little tidbits of the trailers. And I have a very personally, maybe as a person who is not from a US, and for me, this kind of a landscape with motels and neons, it screams Hollywood from Bloodlines 1 to me. Mm-hmm. It's kind of similar. So it is kind of the same in Seattle, where you have these neons, you have these like low buildings, you have motels. And one of these motels, I think it's called the Way Out or something like that, is actually the place where I think it's a place where Baron faction has its haven. And there was a recent dev diary, which was published in December, which had the screenshots from the inside. It looks pretty damp in there. It looks pretty dirty and bad. So they for sure don't have the very nice quarters, but maybe that's because they don't care about that.
I have a question. Anybody know what clan he's supposed to be?
He's Malkavian, 100%.
I mean, okay. Let me rephrase that question. Is his clan confirmed?
He's not confirmed, but it's 100% Malkavian because he's literally in the Malkavian clan video. So
right. Okay.
So, like, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, that's the guy looking in the mirror, the shadows?
Yes.
Oh,
cool.
Oh, because all I'm trying to do is think of why it's Damp, why that's his last name. And I was thinking, I don't know, I think I was going off track there and thinking Dampier. So maybe he would be one of those.
Oh, maybe Eastern European. But I think he has an American accent.
I don't know.
He has a pretty cool voice actor. I really wanted to find who is voice acting this guy because I love that voice in the clan trailer. And in the demo we've seen, but I couldn't find anything. So I think it's a public get.
That's cool.
But we can talk about him later in the NPC.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. He's like all I ever want to talk about.
I'm glad there's a mythos built around him already. I think that speaks a lot to the production value and like how people are interested in this game. Because we know so little about it, but people are just sitting here talking, theorizing. And I think we covered a little bit about the key figures in these factions. Like we have Cross for the Camarilla, but and we have Damp, obviously, and the Baron for the Barony?
The Baron?
I mean,
I think it's just called the Baron faction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Baron is kind of interesting. Like my theory, which I dropped in my previous crazy theory video of Bloodlines 2, is that we might be actually kind of, because there's no mention of Anarchs, right? We mentioned all of the factions, but no Anarchs, obviously. And Baron Anarchs for us, right? Because Isaac, and because it's literally a function within the Anarch faction. But because of the fact that it's the Baron, and we don't really know exactly what kind of a connection to Anarchs they might have. I presume none. My theory is that he might, it's like freaking 2% chance, but he might be a Baron someday because he is wearing a silk hat.
Yeah.
He is called the Baron in the Cults of the Blood Gods book, when there was like what kind of key figures Hecata clan finds as their gods, kind of.
Yeah.
There was a mention of the Baron. It's in the book.
Yeah, someone tweeted that at you, didn't they?
Yes,
Yes,
recently.
I saw that.
And that would,
I totally missed that. Yeah.
yeah, and that would explain why you don't get to see his face too, because
Yeah,
obviously
and
you would know
also-
right away if you saw it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like on a picture, there's an illustration.
Oh,
and
okay.
He is in the shadows. So his skin kind of, because there's like a part of his face visible, and his skin doesn't seem to be rotten, but the eyes are not showing for some reason. So maybe it's because they are, popping out of a socket like Burn Sandy was. I don't know. It was so fun.
I mean, if then again, like you have Cults of the Blood Gods saying that you don't necessarily manifest these attributes anymore, but I feel like the Baron of the Samedi would definitely be rotting. Like otherwise, that would be
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would be such a cool idea.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was trying to, like drop it around various people from the team. Like, what if it's Baron Samedi? They had freaking rock faces. They weren't showing anything.
Oh wow, good.
So I cannot say, I was really trying to dig it up, but no, unfortunately. And when it comes to key figures, there's also Josephine in the Baron faction, who is a lieutenant of the Baron. That's how she is referred to. And she seems to be this kind of a granny figure because she refers to you as a son, right? I mean, at least in the quote. And she's older vampire, and she kind of probably gives you quests from the Baron faction, but we haven't met her in the demo so far. So we don't know.
Yeah, I imagine that Josephine is the character we will probably most encounter from the Baron side. I hope we don't encounter that much, to be honest.
Hey!
I do.
I do. The female part of this podcast is, we're going to talk about it later when we talk about NPCs in general, but just leaving it out here for everyone watching. When we talk positively about probably very evil characters, it is not because we appreciate what they do, the evil things that they do. It's just because we like villains only on the screen, but not in real life. There's a big separation of that. Just
my character can change him. You wait.
Now that's problematic.
That's problematic. No, I mean, I just leaving it out here. I guess we should probably talk about it later. But I've heard a lot of people saying, "Why are you like fangirling over him so much? He's evil." I mean, when I was 5, my favorite book was Disney Villains book, and I loved Jafar from Aladdin, and I wanted Jafar to win, and I was very sad that he didn't. So it's just like, you can be a regular person in real life liking people doing good things, but on the screen in fiction, it's just fun.
It's not a real person.
It's
this
a
is
game.
for entertainment, so we're going to enjoy the characters that we enjoy.
You're not allowed to like Darth Vader. You're not allowed to think that he's cool. It's like everyone thinks Darth Vader is cool, and
exactly.
he's super evil. So who cares?
Yeah.
It's a game.
Yeah, I'm personally very much into villains, and I always was, and I'm not going to fight it just because it's just not proper nowadays. I feel like it's just something that can stay on the screen, and we can still be good people in real life.
James Bond is boring. The villains are way cooler.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
But if you also like think about it, I just started thinking about James Bond and lost my track of thought.
Sorry.
But
sorry.
No, it's well-written villains. Like I think it's a sign of well-written villains that you actually like them. So I'd rather have like the best bad characters are the ones that you can kind of sort of see their argument and be like, okay, if I were in your shoes, maybe I would have made the same decision.
Yeah.
But it's a bad decision. I don't agree with it, but I can see how you came to make this decision. I think those villains are the most, memorable because you're like, yeah, anyone could have ended up in this situation. Like if you look at The Shining, like Jack is suffering from alcoholism and he's getting cabin fever and he's a failed writer. So like all these things are stacking up. I don't like the character, but he's a well-written bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to say there are no good people in Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah, that too.
None.
No one's good in Vampire.
There are no heroes. But I want to say something about villains. If nobody in the chat is watching Outstar play the most chaotic, evil gangrel ever on stream, you are missing something special. She killed Chunk, killed Mercurio, all the
Oh my
Thin
God.
Bloods. Oh man, it's something special. You guys really need to watch it.
I had no idea you can kill Mercurio, and when I
neither.
found out, and he attacked me.
Yeah, that seemed amazing.
I know, I watched.
Mercurio, he attacked me, and I was so sad because he's literally one of the most innocent beings. I mean, he's not innocent again, but he's like, he has good heart.
Mercurio,
And
yeah.
I murdered him in cold blood, and he was sad.
And
Yeah.
I don't know what you did, but you made Therese freak out. I don't know what you did.
I was tilting her very hard. I basically, the moment that I tilted her the most was the moment when I said that I'm going to kill her, I'm going to kill the prince, I'm going to kill everybody.
Oh, is that when she freaks out about her mum?
About her
Yes,
mother,
and
yeah.
she's calling me her mother. I can't tell her what to do. And I was so freaked out. And the game actually recognizes that you have to be freaked out. So it only allows you to say, okay, after
Yeah.
there's no interruption.
I think it's beautiful that someone who's been playing Bloodlines as much as you have is now like, finding all these dialogue options. Probably the majority of the people playing this game has never heard or seen them. Like how many in the chat have fought and killed Mercurio? I didn't know it was possible.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So
Actually,
well done, developers.
I also heard from someone that you can, I haven't managed to do that. I really wanted to, maybe later, but you can tilt Bertram Tang so much that he attacks you.
Wow.
Yep.
And he gets so mad at you that when you come back to Santa Monica, he will not be in the silos anymore. He will be waiting in the streets in between the asylum and your haven, like in the back streets, and he will attack you. And he's very OP, so you gotta run.
He's so hard. So I'm doing a Sabat run at the moment with the Clan Quest mod, and everyone hates me, obviously, now that I'm Sabat. So I was just like, I wonder what Tongue's up to. No, I don't want to know what Tongue's up to. He's potent and he's fast. He's causing masquerade breaches, chasing me down the street, and impossible to kill.
Oh, wow.
I have 5 dots in the blood sorcery, and I can't kill him. Can't.
I am
it's impossible.
waiting for these possible playthroughs of Bloodlines 2.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I just want to know how much it is possible for us to really screw up with others. And I know already that apparently you can literally lock yourself out of the faction. So, and even kind of early in the game, you can basically make choices which kind of bring you to the point where some factions will just not talk to you. Because you are just so bad for them. And because of this, I feel like I will play this game a lot over and over again.
I'm interested to know how much they signpost that stuff. So they're like, if you go over here, these people are going to hate you forever.
I hope they don't too much. I want to be surprised.
Yeah, they shouldn't, I feel, because as much as it's going to maybe tilt some people, because I wanted to be with this, it's Vampire the Masquerade. It's a game of plots and devices.
and intrigue and politics and everything.
That's great,
exactly.
So who do we have? The outsiders. What was her name? The Tremere.
Newcomers.
The newcomers. Sorry, not the outsiders.
Elif.
You have Elif Parmak.
She's the one on the rooftop.
Yeah, in the Atrium Club. It's weird because her surname is Parmak, which means finger in Turkish. Ooh. And that's a very untypical surname. I mean, non-existent surname in Turkish language. So Turkish people are like, it's fine that we're represented, but that's a very weird name. Why is he called the finger? So yeah, she is basically the right hand of Victor Goga, who is the main leader of the faction. Newcomers, and she is the one giving you quests, and also the dialogue with her hints that she might be romanceable.
Ooh.
Yes,
we're gonna get back to that topic later on. That's in bold in the list of topics to talk about. And then we have the pioneers being represented by. Do we have
Lou Reed?
Luke Rand.
Lou Reed, yeah.
Luke Rand.
Lou Grant, excuse me.
Lou Reed is I know. guy. And Luke Rand, which is the very busty, beautiful Torah Raider, probably Torah Raider woman. Pioneers are by default mainly Torah Raider, apparently, although maybe not only. Like apparently, You can actually see that on the poster of Pioneers. There's this guy which is sitting by the piano in the cinematic trailer. He's also there, and there's also a big like chunky guy who I feel like he represents more like if I have to guess and speculate, more of the workers side of Pioneers, because original Pioneers were also these work people, these ones that raised Seattle literally with their own hands. So they might be Bruja, there might be Gangrel, who knows? And so Pioneers is the faction which combines it all, but we only know Lou Grand as for now by name when it comes to the faction.
Okay, and then we have Cross for the Camarilla, obviously.
Cross, he has a blonde assistant, but we don't know her name. And for the Unseen, we have Samuel, and we have that woman displayed on the picture poster as well, that supposedly will be a leader of the faction. We don't really know. And the Council of Free, which is in the background, but we don't know their names either.
Brilliant.
I feel like we don't know the most interesting NPCs yet. Like, I have a feeling they are hiding very, very cool figures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm super looking forward to this. So let's move on to ourselves, because I don't know anything about character creation except that apparently you start out as a thin blood. Is that correct? In a mass embrace, right?
Yes.
There is a mass embrace event that happens in Seattle, which I guess is what spurs the beginning of a lot of the beginning of the story, at least. It's the reason that the trial happens. They bring you in to kind of explain yourself and what happened to you. You get attacked in Pioneer Square by a bunch of vampires. You and everyone else gets turned into a vampire, and no one can tell why. So you have to figure out why during the game. And you start off as a thin blood with 3 possible superpowers, which are mostly meant for traversal, so you can either float or make things float and use telepathy. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's just called telepathy.
Mentalism.
Right? Mentalism, that's it.
It's like thin blood alchemy,
that's actually used in Blood Alchemy in 5th edition.
This one,
There's a couple of them.
This one is like based on magnetism, I feel, right? There's magnetism in the Blood Alchemy. It's kind of funny because all of these 3 discipline powers, they have their, I would say, some kind of a relative in the V5 rules, but it's totally not based one by one. Basically, they made it more cool, let's say, because I don't want to say that Fiendbloods are not cool, because they are very cool in the base V5. Their abilities are awesome and very powerful, but not very translatable to a video game. Heroes Gamers nowadays, it's basically vicissitude. It can actually change appearance, any part of appearance of a person after errata, because originally it was only gender, which was very rare to use, I guess. So they changed it to the general parts of appearance.
I didn't know that.
It's awesome. And very it's cool. Like you can literally set up a freaking appearance parlor for vampires right now with a thin blood and change their,
that is really cool.
Yeah. And, they have a lot of really interesting powers, but they're not translatable to a video game very easily.
It's hard to do that, yeah.
So that's why you have, instead of that, you have these 3 weird disciplines, which are not really available in the V5 mechanically. You have Chiropteran, Mentalism, and
Nebulation.
Nebulation. Which
Chiropteran,
it's like you turn into a fog. Chiropteran is bat things.
Bat things.
Bats. So you can summon bats that actually attack other people, or you can turn yourself into a bat.
Yeah, you can float and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, Nebulation is turning yourself into fog, basically, and Mentalism is telekinesis. So it's way cooler than what you can do by default as a Fiendblood in V5. But it's just made to have more playable.
Yeah, and from what I hear, the V5 Thin Blood abilities were inspired by things that were from the video game, because the 2 development teams were talking to each other, and they really kind of expanded on what Thin Bloods could be, which is great, because I love Thin Bloods.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Thin Bloods are very much underappreciated yet. I really hope that, we just need more chronicles that people will watch, more stuff. There we go. That's basically.
If you're interested in that, check out Bloodlust.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Females are really cool.
Yeah. But can you say a thin blood in the game, or do
No.
Not forever.
No.
Yeah, it's. I don't know how they're going to force you to fight and kill and eat or turn into a full-blooded vampire. However it is that it happens, you cannot stay a thin blood, and that's confirmed. It's,
the reasoning is apparently that you are not able to withstand what is waiting for you if you will remain a thin blood.
Now, I'm interested whether they're saying that because they're just like, it's going to be too hard and you need to use the powers and you will end up dead. Or there's literally some kind of narrative barrier where you're like, at this point you have to move on or die or something.
Okay.
Which, yeah.
I was wondering if you won't be able to join one of the factions until you are.
That makes sense as well. That would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a theory about the actual embraces. And if you guys want to follow me right now, let's use some visual aid in here and go to Bloodlines 2 website. Because if you do so, if you go to Bloodlines2.com.
It's all Fallout Star.
Yes, and you will go to clans, basically, and you will click on Bruja, for example, and then on Tremere and Torator, you have all these different NPCs shown in there, right?
Yes.
And this is one of my theories, which I also shared in my previous video.
I got to figure out when I'm born, though. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So my theory is that these are the NPCs which you will be able to diablerize to turn yourself into a full-blown clan. Why? Because from most of them, except for Ventru, which I haven't seen at all, I think, in the game, I feel like they are more antagonistic kind of a figure. So for example, Malkavian is displayed. Mass Malkavian is displayed in multiple instances of the long gameplay trailer, which we've seen so far. In the combat situations, you are basically tossing her around with mentalism. Bruja literally attacks you in the cinematic trailer and just basically punches you through some walls.
Yeah.
So that's the attack. Ventru, I don't know. Tremere is also displayed where you follow her, and I think it's like a kind of like a crouching behind her, and she's like she doesn't see you, so you basically follow her somewhere. So it also seems to be like a character that you're not, very much friendly with. And Torator, there is a theory that she is visible as one of the characters, or she, he, I'm not really sure. Let's say, they are visible as one of the characters at the very beginning of the mass embrace. The first character that jumps in front of you has very similar physique.
I was thinking that, like, what if these, this is purely speculative though, but what if these are the ones responsible for the mass embrace, and then the fact
it's possible.
And the factions just go, you got to track down and kill these guys. Which one are you going to take? Or you take one of them, which would make for good replayability, and you diablerize them, and they go, that's fine, no worries.
Yeah.
And what I can share with you guys, this is my personal speculation. I don't know for sure. Watch Vain Pursuit, because I have a feeling like we are meeting two of them in our campaign, and we already met one.
Oh yeah, I think I know which one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, it just the cogs just went click. It's like I remember. Yeah.
I got pretty much obliterated.
Yeah. Oh god.
When that happened.
Oh.
So I feel like I don't know that for sure, but I feel like we're meeting two of them. And let me just say, I don't like them. I don't like these people.
I can't see why. Why do you not like them?
Someone in chat says you diablerize your sire, maybe, and I don't know if that would be true. You might end up meeting / killing your sire, but there's only been one vampire shown as having turned you. There's a cutscene at the beginning where you see this bloke's face, and he's standing over you, like bleeding into your mouth. It's kind of gross. Ooh. And I imagine you'll be able to exact revenge or do something against this vampire, but I don't think that will be the diablerie target.
But maybe
I'm not even convinced that the diablerie will be the thing that lets you turn into a full-blooded vampire. I mean,
there's only one other option mechanically.
Yeah, you'd have to be human again and then get embraced.
I don't think they're that beholden to mechanics, though.
What is your theory then?
I'm just going to imagine that there is either some way of taking an older vampire's blood or empowering yourself with a ritual. I don't think. I mean, I think it makes sense and would be very exciting to be Diablo-y. I think that would be very cool.
I mean, if your theory is true, then that means that we are going to be put on the long table, and Victor Goga, the master ritualist of Seattle, is going to perform the ritual on us, which is going to be also very beautiful, and I'm into that. So yes.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Never mind. It's going to be Diablo.
There is one factor here we had not taken into consideration. It's pretty much a given who the taxi driver is in the first game, right?
Oh yes.
If anyone would have the ability to, do something, maybe someone like that, maybe an omnipotent character like that. But I was thinking, like what you were saying about the person embracing you, maybe you don't remember initially who did embrace you, and at one point in the story, you get to basically have a flashback, and you can choose who it was that embraced you, and they send you off to kill that person. That's how I would have done it, maybe.
That's interesting. That would be a pretty interesting thing. Yeah, maybe.
Like, describe the person who did it, and you get to do that, and you get a specific cutscene for that, maybe.
If it was me, I would, whichever faction that you're trying to get in good with, they want you to be a full-fledged vampire before you join, I would assume they would want you to Diablo-ize someone from another faction they don't just particularly like. That would be my assumption.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That's what I would do if I was a vampire.
I think it might be like, if I would have to guess, it's like they are not actually going to be officially a part of any of the factions up until the very end of the game.
You're a little bit quiet, Outstar.
Learn who is behind that. The same with Arcane Sarcophagus, right? It was like a big mystery up until the end of the game. What happened?
Your audio's going loud, quiet. It's weird.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. What about now? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
you're okay now.
Sounds good. Yeah.
I feel like I might have some cable problem because I think it was touching my cable.
Or it sounds like your microphone was taking a nap, falling asleep.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I just was saying that I feel like we are going to find out at the very end of the game probably which faction actually, or who stood behind the mass embrace, because that's going to be the big secret. And we might find these NPCs before, and all the factions are going to be, we don't like them. You can Diablo-ize them because these are not us, or not our people. But then in the end, it will turn out that they are actually working for someone.
I have one more question about you play a character. Do you know if there's any like character creation, like you get to design them, or is it just like you play as this person or this person?
From what I understand, there are character models that you can choose from for how your player looks. You can't like customize the size of their nose or anything intricate like that. And then there are also clothes options that because there's DLC codes that people have already been given, so you can get like a Paradox hoodie or something like that.
That's cool.
And it's pretty cool. And we've seen this Thin Blood player character in a puffer jacket already and stuff like that. So I think you'll be able to collect clothes, buy clothes, and customize your character that way, which is pretty cool. It's not something I considered for Bloodlines, but I think it makes sense.
It's not that big of a deal either because it is only first person. I think you would only see that in cutscenes and things like that.
Yeah. It's
a cool feature.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
And also there's going to be a history that you can pick. It's similar to the history aspect that was available in Bloodlines 1, but not in the vanilla game, but only unlocked with the patch. And this is actually going to affect some instances and some quests in Bloodlines 2. So, for example, if you pick a cop background, that you were a cop when you were human, you will go to for some mission to the police office. And when you are entering sites, people will just allow you to enter through the main doors. You won't have to sneak behind or anything like that. But maybe you will find your ex-coworker who will start to ask very uncomfortable questions. So, there are, I think the cop is the only one which was confirmed so far, but there will be some backgrounds which you can choose from.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
Because that was in the first game only available via the Plus patch. I I don't know whether they created that or just
no, it
something
was
that was
dug up from the game files. It was in the game files all the time, but it was locked and it wasn't available. So that's what happened. Basically, they didn't make it appear in the vanilla box version of Bloodlines, but it was still in the game files, so you could reach that if you dug in them. Also, people in the chat are speaking about their theorizing. There's no way to remain a thin bot. You have to become a fully fledged vampire at one point in the game.
Right.
So,
there was some. I've been talking with some people. Like, were there plans for DLC for other clans as well, or is it just going to be these 6 or 5? Was it?
No, it's pretty much confirmed that there will be more clans, and they will be free for people who do not own the DLCs. So if you're going to just buy the basic game and the DLCs will go out with the additional clans, you're going to still get the clan even if you don't have the DLC. You just won't have the additional quest lines or stuff like
there's
that.
not going to be story content for them, and I think they're starting off with Gangrel.
Nice.
We don't know for sure. There's no confirmation. My theory is
that's the one that's been announced already, right?
Gangrel was not announced yet.
Well, wasn't it in the stuff list for the various tiers of game that you can purchase?
There was in the staff list. There was a mention of the possible werewolves, I guess. In the
is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of something else then.
Yes. So it didn't actually say Gangrel per se. It is called the Season of the Wolf.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself with the speculation now.
I feel it's going to be Gangrel. Like, it sounds quite obvious, but I don't know if this is going to be for sure the first one released. I feel like we're going to get Gangrel and Nosferatu as DLCs, but we'll see.
So how is this story going to be connected to Bloodlines 1? Do we have any idea about that?
I mean,
I don't think it is, mostly.
Yeah.
There's for sure some connection.
There's no like campaign connecting the two. That would be too convenient, I feel.
Oh, man. I really wish there was one.
But if there was one, it would be great to have a sassy, stabby Vontru.
Yeah.
Not stabby, shooty.
Some
Shooty,
driver, angry, likes to smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some neat freak Malkavian, maybe.
That would be very cool.
British Tremere. No, yeah, older British Tremere.
Anyway, when it comes to the storyline of Vain Pursuit and what is like revealed already, and what I can tell you for sure before you watch it. Okay, watch the other episodes, the next ones, if you want to know a little bit more about the possible connection to Bloodlines 1. But the base premise of the story, of the tabletop campaign Vain Pursuit, which is a prologue to Bloodlines 2, is the fact that we are vampires from LA, Los Angeles, so the place where Bloodlines 1 took place. And Nimes Rodriguez is sending us on a way to Seattle, where Bloodlines 2 takes place, because there's apparently a very important Anarch courier going from Los Angeles to Seattle with a very important package. And we are supposed to secure the fact that this package has to reach Seattle. And we don't know anything about the couriers, who the courier is. We don't know what is inside the package. We don't know anything. We just know that this package is sent by the Anarchs and has to reach Seattle, which is fun because on one side, it does connect the Anarchs, the whole story of Seattle. So that kind of confirms that Anarchs will be there. Obi, what are you doing? Wait, my dog really wants to get into the room. So you're going to have Anarchs in Seattle somehow. It also confirms that there's going to be some important cargo delivered from Los Angeles to Seattle, which is for sure going to be important for the story. Like, I don't know how, but I'm sure it will be.
Sarcophagus, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Puppy.
Dog.
Doggy.
Yay!
But the Onyx Path brought up, interestingly, in the chat, that there's a character called Lillian.
Yep.
Sounds similar to some other lore character, important roughly on the same level as Cain. I wonder who that could be.
No idea.
I was very much... I mean, Lillian is actually... Lillian is actually a leak. It is not official. That's fine. I mean, it's like it was kind of a news online, and a lot of news sites were picking it up because it got leaked because of the cinematic trailer. And one of the artists on the on the 3D models that were created for that cinematic trailer, actually published the picture of Lillian in full glory, let's say, in like with her full dress and everything, and then the name was attached to that. So this is how we know it. Maybe it's not true. Maybe they just gave them placeholder names. We don't know. So I wouldn't like take full trust in that, but yeah, possibly. I really hope she's Lilith. That would be so cool.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
that would be very cool. I personally enjoy the idea of there being an incredibly old, powerful vampire somewhere behind the scenes pulling strings, but I think the way that it was done in Bloodlines 1 is preferable to being like a foreground character.
Definitely.
Just the cab driver just turns up at, I guess, spoilers, turns up at the end to say some cool lines. Lillian seems a little more involved in the city than that, but I guess we'll see. It's an entirely different game. So
isn't she speaking to you on the phone at the beginning of the game too? Like there's this beginning where you get out of the Seattle Underground. You go to this beautiful place when the Pier 57 is visible with this Ferris wheel, and then you get a phone call, and it is the voice that was heard in the cinematic trailer. So it is her, I believe. Yeah. She's talking to you, and she's telling you that you need to go to Pier 57 and talk to the film lot called Dominic. And when you do that, Florian in the demo showcase, he was actually saying, I remember, that uncovering who she is going to be one of the biggest mysteries of Bloodlines 2. This is going to be one of the biggest plot devices.
Speaking of that, of the pier, I'm super excited to see all this landmarks in Seattle, because that's the waterfront with the Ferris wheel. Which is beautiful. And then I want to know what else we're going to see. I assume we'll see the Space Needle, and I assume we'll see Pike Place Market and things like that.
I can tell you for sure that we are going to see Pioneer Square, because that was already shown. We are going to see Volunteer Park Conservatory, because that was also shown. And I feel it's going to be the place where pioneers are going to gather. Because there is a moment in the RTX trailer where Lou Grant is actually inside the conservatory. So that's also, I feel like, something that is going to be explored. There's also, it's visible from the outside. And there's this one big building, one hotel, I believe.
Is it by the seaside, perhaps?
No, let me just see very quickly. Bloodlines 2. There are like a lot of concept arts revealed already, which shows some locations in the Seattle.
Well, the cool thing about Seattle is that there is so many locations, and there's so many parks there that are absolutely gorgeous.
You can tell us, because I'm going to post this picture in the chat right now, and you can tell me if you can open it, Huddy, or can't you? Or maybe
I'm as old as a Methuselah. It's been a really long time since I've been to Seattle. But there's the Amazon spheres. There's which are these, it's a gorgeous park, but all the parks there have like little things that make them special, little art pieces that make them special, that make them instantly recognizable from all the other parks that are everywhere. Seattle is, and see, I know they can't put it in there, but I really hope there's some chain of coffee shops along the, because that's where Starbucks started. I know they can't put that in there, but I do hope that that's some sort of inside joke.
Of course.
It makes me really happy.
It is actually a quest line at the very beginning of the game where you are supposed to go talk to the faction leaders, and the pioneers do meet you in a coffee shop. It is not called, but it is a coffee shop.
Did someone mention in the chat that you can also have barista as a background?
So So Pacific Tower is also something that is going to be in the game. And I was actually going to say about the locations. Oh, there's one thing I really hope for: Fremont Troll. There's like this. You can Google it, guys. So basically, Fremont Troll is this big, weird figure of a troll underneath some kind of a bridge.
Oh God, it's that fucking thing.
It's creepy as hell, and I love it. I really hope it's going to be in the game. It's great. I don't know what it is, but it's awesome. What's the origin of this? Under Aurora Bridge. Oh, I see. He's cute.
That's one I don't know.
Yeah, it's a big like troll figure who goes out of bounds.
It's terrifying.
Fremont Troll. Okay.
Yeah.
But the game is going to be played fairly similar to how original Bloodlines was, right? FPS elements, disciplines, no confirmed third person.
I mean, it's going to be different when it comes to the mechanics itself, because they really want the combat to be more fluent. Like that's the main thing that
I don't
they're
understand
aiming
what you're
for.
talking about. I thought Bloodlines 1 combat was amazing.
No, because like I feel like what they really wanted to do is to incorporate the action movie style inside the video game. So basically, they wanted to really show you how powerful vampires could be, especially when it comes to fighting with humans, and how it looked like when I saw the gameplay. It was like you can literally jump from one, like very fluently from one enemy to the other, and basically obliterate them in very funny ways, and use your environment to that as well. So, for example, you can climb on a wall and you can drop that to someone and just kill them this way. So there's like a lot of fun environment use, and also there's going to be very much tons of interaction with the weapons of your enemy. So you can basically punch them, steal their weapon, kill them with their weapon, toss the weapon. So there's no longevity of usage of a singular weapon. You actually are going to destroy your weapons very often.
I like that.
But the game is going to have some kind of an algorithm which is going to recognize which weapons you like the most. So it's going to drop them more often. So basically it's going to be more dynamic, where you mostly use your enemy's weapons to fight them. And the weapons that you tend to be the best with are going to fall more often than others.
What a cool idea.
Nice.
I feel it's pretty fun. Yeah,
I like that.
Seems really, really cool. I just don't know why they were showing the gameplay majorly using gamepads, because I seen the gameplay with the keyboard and mouse, and it was freaking awesome. It was. I think Josh, you were there too when the gamepad broke for them. The controller broke.
And a keyboard and mouse, because they couldn't. Had to switch between the two.
Yeah, the controller actually broke for them or something. Like there was some kind of a bug, so they had to switch to keyboard and mouse. It was suddenly way more fluent, and it was just like boop, 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 boop. It was awesome. So
I think for reference, if people think about Dishonored, if people think about the Batman Arkham Asylum games, those are the kind of combat mechanics, at the very least, that and probably traversal mechanics that you'll see a lot of.
But like in first-person mode, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of Dishonored vibes, honestly. It seems very Dishonoredly for me, which is fun because I really like Dishonored.
Oh yeah, Dishonored's a great game. I really need to play the Fall of the Outsider. That's what I'm on to next.
That's interesting. And we have branching dialogue trees as well.
Yep, branching dialogue. I imagine you will be able to use things like presence or the other one where you command people.
Dominate.
That's the one. Gone out my brain. But yeah, I imagine those will come up. And then, there's also the Malkavian one, discombobulate.
Dementation, which is
that's one.
Especially
nouns are not with me today.
That's not NV5 anymore, is it?
It's not
NV5, but it is in the video game.
Yeah.
Dementation is a mixed discipline between dominate and auspex. Yeah,
I think. Obfuscate.
Obfuscate. That's the one.
It's obfuscate, dominate.
There's basically dementation as a power in dominate right now. It's a level 2 or 3 power.
Yeah,
I'm happy they nerfed it because it was very powerful.
It was very powerful.
Well, not happy they nerfed it, but like I can see how boiling it down to fewer disciplines makes it easier to not have the power. What's it called? When it just escalates over time.
Creep.
Power creep. Thank you. That's the term. That's interesting. And there was something else I wanted to ask about the mechanics.
When it comes to dialogues, I feel like from what we've seen so far, dialogues look very much similar to what we've seen in Bloodlines 1. Yeah. It's a very similar style. It looks like the writing is the same. It's the same kind of style with little snarky comments here and there and snarky replies to that.
Nice. Why change a working recipe, right?
Yeah. It seems very, very similar, which is super fun. And I love how Dale-Taily dialogue looked like at the beginning of the game, because you eventually end up in go to the apartment, because that's the beginning of the game. You go to the pier after the woman calls you, you find Dominic, which is the Finnblood who was embraced just when you were embraced in the mass embrace. But he actually used the past 2 weeks not being in the Camarilla rest like you, because you were literally just like
staked instantly.
Yeah. You were staked instantly, and you were taken to the Camarilla court, and they took the stake 2 weeks later and put you in a chair and did a trial. Ooh. And in that time, Dominic was out, and he was doing the investigation already for 2 weeks.
Dominic is the guy with the curly hair and the beanie, right?
No,
that's Dale.
That's Dale.
Who's Dominic?
Dominic is just a Finnblood who was embraced at the same time as you were. And you meet him on the Pier 57, and he's like, I almost cracked it up. I know things. I have investigated things for the last 2 weeks, and I have things notes I have to share with you.
Mr.
Got red string and pictures and clippings and newspapers.
Yeah, and Moist Boy comes after him, and so Moist Boy kills him immediately, and then he tries to like kill you, but then he realizes you're not on his list, so he eats. And then you go to the apartment of Dominic, and it turns out that Dale Taylor is his neighbor. And getting to know that Dominic is dead, he has no one to pay the rent for him.
Oh.
So he's like, oh, you're going to live here now, and you're going to pay the rent. Nice. Awesome.
Here's some blood, by the way.
Yeah, and there's a wonderful dialogue with him where he makes so much fun of you. He's just basically just another fledgling.
I was thinking now, if Mr. Moist has a list, is it possible he could be doing like a scourge sort of role, like because they hunt down Finnbloods? That was their job.
I mean, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
So what we know from Vampire Chapters, which is it's still on Kickstarter, I feel,
yeah, and it's on 2 weeks, I think.
Is doing wonderfully, and it has just 790 Canadian dollars. I think it's it's 790 regular dollars, and over $1 million Canadian dollars right now. So there is the Mr. Damp's description on that page, because Mr. Damp is a playable character in Vampire Chapters, and let me quote. He is a very visibly egocentric sociopath with an enthusiastic appreciation of death and violence. He is, however, meticulously structured, only ever allowing himself to hurt people on his list. So he is basically kind of driven by this conviction. I would say he's a very much conviction-driven character, where only hurt people on my list. And the question is, what is this list? Is this a personal list? Is this the Baron's list? I would actually be more inclined to believe that this is Baron's list, and he's having the tasks to do. Sorry. And it's basically, I don't think it's just because he's a Finnblood, because you're a Finnblood as well, and then you would also land up on that list per se. But he was hunting Dominic because he knew too much.
Ah, I see.
And that's a problem, because once you get access to his papers and investigation notes, you're going to continue Dominic's investigation. So I'm sorry.
The protagonist knows too much.
Yes. So you are going to probably sooner or later land up on Damp's list as well. Unless you work for the Baron, then maybe not.
Interesting. I also saw that they were going to do a lot with humors or temperaments. Because I've seen some footage of people walking around, and you can basically see their veins with the humors in them. I think that's going to be interesting, because I think more people will try to implement that in V5, because I know that's one of the most easily dropped rules in V5. Like, people have a hard time implementing it in the system.
I really hope it's going to be released as the official supplement or something like that to V5, because in Vain Pursuit, later on, it wasn't happening yet, but later on we actually do use Bloodlines resonance system, which is a little bit different than V5 one, because there are more resonances in general.
Oh, right,
V5 resonances are a little bit different than the ones available in Bloodlines, and the Bloodlines ones are basically, I don't think they have dyscrasias per se. Well, what they do is they give you buffs. So, for example, we had a situation where someone drank someone with a specific resonance that gave them pluses to streetwise and survival, something like that. So basically, it's a little bit different than the ones from V5 originally, but they are going to be in the game as sort of the buffs that are going to give you. So basically, depending on what kind of a clan you will play, what kind of a build you will pick, you will possibly try to pick the victims based on your preference. And for example, if you're a brawly character, then you may want to search for angry people because they're going to give you pluses to fighting skills. Yeah.
And I can imagine it's just like a temporary minor boost or something. So it's just like a thing that you don't have to do, but if you do it, you get like a small boost to your abilities. That's an interesting feature, and I think it works sort of the same in V5, except apparently at higher discipline levels, you also need to feed from a certain type of blood. If I got that correct.
Yeah, technically in the rule set, they recommend to advance in a discipline you use an appropriate, or you drink someone with an appropriate resonance. And I guess that's where the Bloodlines 2 aspect came from, because I think it gives you, depending on what clan you are, varying amounts of points for the strength of their resonance that you can then use to spend on upgrades and stuff.
And also there's this thing with Ventru clan in Bloodlines where resonances are going to be very important for you because they're part of your curse. And as there is no way to have the exact V5 curse of Ventru translated into Bloodlines 2, what they did is that you will have to look for victims with intense resonance, because there are like kind of like those balls of light right inside of them, and the ones that shine brighter are more powerful. And I feel what they are going to do is Ventrus are going to be only able to feed from those brightest ones.
Nice.
So the ones that are like super intense, and that's why you will have to fight very strategically. So you will have to kill those with lower resonances first, and then leave the one with the most acute resonance as the last one, so you can drain them.
Yep,
it's going to be interesting.
I get. Oh, we've gotten through a lot of different questions about the game so far. We only got a few more left before we get to the great ones. There have been some delays in the development of the game. I haven't been following the development history of Bloodlines 2 a lot, but the game was announced in 2018, correct?
No, at the beginning of 2019.
Oh, okay. Oh, so late, right? And it was supposed to be released now, but they pushed it forward to third quarter.
They haven't got a specific release window. Even they've just said 2020, which is probably a good idea after having delayed it once. They're just like. Hope their best hope is that it will come out this year.
It's even better now that you realize that Cyberpunk delayed again, and they probably don't want to have the same release date or something like that. So, like, imagine if they actually gave the actual date and it would be the same as the Cyberpunk release date. They would have to move it again, and that would be weird. So I feel like they're doing a very good strategy with that whole "we're not saying." Because it's not going to leave anyone disappointed in the end, or leave some speculations like, "Oh, are you guys afraid of Cyberpunk release?"
I believe a huge issue with Bloodlines 1 was actually that it did get an earlier release than it was supposed to have, because it was released. I actually, if I think back, I think it was released before Half-Life 2. So it was the first game released with the Source engine.
Before Half-Life 2, but on the same day as, was it Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, it was the worst possible time to release this game. So it didn't get a huge success initially, and they had to rush development. That's why there were so many game crashing bugs in it, because Q&A didn't have time to catch them all, including the Society of Leopold bug that essentially made me miss 1/3 of the game. That was great. But I think it's good, and I agree with you that don't set a date. Release it when it's done. We waited this long for a new Bloodlines game. We can wait a bit more. It's fine. And we've got Vain Pursuit. We've got Seattle by Night. I don't know if they finished that yet.
Seattle, I think, is finished already.
Right.
I think so. I mean, at least the season 1.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Season 1 is finished, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got LA by Night starting. We got a bunch of stuff to keep us busy.
Yeah, and actually, like, call me a shill again, but I just want to say that I really liked how Bloodlines 2 was delayed. It was like really, really cool way, especially in comparison to, let's say, some other games which were delayed. Because there was this on ParadoxCon last year, there was this, after the official information dropped that the game is going to be delayed, Florian came to the stage and he said that we want to make sure that we'll deliver this game which is going to not have the same mistakes as Bloodlines 1 had, but also to make sure that our team doesn't have to crunch, which was just so nice. And it's a thing, like they don't crunch apparently. There's barely any crunch involved in the development, and developers are actually having a life, which is great. And it's not like, we're going to delay our game half a year and we are already after 2 years of crunch, and this is going to mean even more crunch in the next half of the year, which kind of broke my heart a little bit in million pieces. So
from the way they described it, they did a little not a Q&A, but like an explanation session about when and how the decision came to delay it. And they described that they've actually been asking for the delay for a very long time. And obviously, when you're in a heavy development process, it takes time to talk with people, plan things out, and decide on how and when everything will change once you've started in motion this huge machine to like get a game made. And so they ages ago asked for this, and at the same time they were like, we need more people. And so they ended up with a whole extra bunch of developers working on the game. They ended up with a whole bunch of extra time, and it makes sense to me. Like, it's just smart business development.
It also apparently wasn't a problem to get that either. Like Florian is the guy who is responsible for getting that extra time and money. He's the one that looks at the numbers and makes sure that everything is just great, right? And people in the end are going to be paid, and everyone is going to be happy. And he was very, very afraid before the big talk, big conversations, the paradox that, they had to just basically have this talk where, are we going to be able to delay this just for a little bit? Really, we don't need a big delay. And what he heard was, yeah, sure, how much time you need, like, we can give you more. We can give you more time. It's fine. Because they really care about making this game good, I feel. And it's just not a problem when it comes to dropping more bugs in the development just to make this happen. And it's not like you have to fret carefully on how to, announce this to the management because they're not going to agree because they want to have the game released right now. I feel like they learned on the mistakes of Troika. And actually Activision. Troika was not guilty of anything for Troika. So I just feel like they know what's not to repeat, which is a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Paradox in general, like, this is sort of a new field for them, right? Like they're mostly known for their strategy games, real-time strategy games like
Crusader Kings,
Victoria Empire Under the Sun, Stellaris. But they've been branching out a lot lately, I've heard. Like, didn't they also publish, was it Mech Warrior?
Yep.
Battletech also?
Battletech, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. Mech Warrior, close enough.
Really good game.
It's awesome.
So
really cool.
I'm glad they listen to the developers. And I mean, the time to release the game is now. Like, the hype is building, the renaissance of Vampire is going on, and I'm so excited for this game. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, and let's hope that it is going to sell well enough for us to be given Bloodlines 3 and 4 in the future.
One can hope.
I only hope that the release of this game gets even more people interested in Vampire.
Yes.
Is the hope of this. For me.
That's our job, guys. They can do the game, whatever the game is going to have, that's their thing. But we need to translate this whole, hype into people actually interested in role playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Because I believe that several Let's Plays of Bloodlines are directly responsible for a lot of people getting into V20. For example, I know most of the people I roleplay with, who I haven't roleplayed with in the past, are like, yeah, I saw Bloodlines, I played Bloodlines, I got interested, I got into the role-playing game that way. I would believe that a huge part of the audience right now were people who started playing it via the computer game.
Bloodlines is how I got into VTM.
Yeah.
That was my way in.
And
so
I'm
I'm
old
just
school.
I'm saying the possible wave of new people coming into Vampire the Masquerade after Bloodlines 2, and I'm so happy. I really hope it's going to be as awesome as it was when I was 14.
Yeah, I hope so too. Maybe we'll see a remake of Vampire Redemption.
This is like something that I so much want to happen. I want people like, for example, folks who made Grim Dawn or something like this to make I was talking about it in previous Beckoning in episode 1, I think.
Yeah.
I just really want an action RPG based on the lore of Vampire the Masquerade, and it was so cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good time to be alive. Or undead, as it were.
Or unalive.
Yeah. Now we're getting to the juicy stuff. Let's. Are we gonna do the romanceable characters first, or are we gonna kind of merge that with the little game of? I don't know if I can say it on your stream, but fuck, marry, kill.
You could say bang. You could say bang, marry, kill.
Bang, marry, kill. Yeah, we'll
bang,
keep
marry,
it PG-13. Yeah.
I mean, we can start with Bank, Marry, Kill, and then we can branch over to the actual romance.
Bonk, befriend, bloody. There we go. That's my version.
Do we have all the NPCs available with pictures somewhere easily so I can look them up?
I mean,
I guess superficial person.
I was gonna say the same thing.
You gotta check out the Bloodlines 2 page and the factions. I would say that's where you have the.
All right. While I do that, who wants to start with a bang? What do you call it, Trev?
Josh.
Josh, sorry.
Do that.
Obviously, Josh wants to start.
Are we doing the fuck, marry, kill?
That's what we're doing.
Okay. Okay. Let's go. This is hard. Okay. Fuck Elif. Marry Alec Cross and kill Mr. Damp.
Do you really want to marry Daddy?
Always.
He can take care of it. It's like a sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy.
You sound very much like a Camarilla fanboy, Josh. Are you?
Well, I don't know who the Baron is yet, so I can't marry them.
I see.
If they're Anak, then I'm in there.
What about you, Huddy?
Well, bang Mr. Damp, obviously.
Added in there.
Obviously. Marry Alec Cross because money. Money is nice. And that's my reasoning for it. And kill is the hardest one for me because I was gonna say Samuel, but I kind of like him. I'm trying to think of someone I like the least, but I can't, so I'm gonna have to go with Samuel. I
would probably marry Samuel. Maybe not my main choice, but yeah, he's fun.
Well, he used to be an 80s business guy, right? Isn't that his backstory?
Really? I don't even know. Is it?
I can look it up.
You can look it up.
I'm almost positive.
That sounds good. Okay, so who would you kill if not Samuel?
Maybe Elif.
Oh no!
I want to fight.
Yeah, we can find it out. Don't worry about it. Yeah, he was a manager during the technological boom of the 80s.
Interesting.
I'll kill Elif.
He sounds like a cool person. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very difficult question for me because, when it comes to sexual relationships, I am the kind of a person that likes them to be wholesome, and I don't want to be killed while having fun. So I guess I don't want to be stabbed while having fun. So I cannot pick Mr. Damp, which is sad. But
reasonable expectation, though.
Yeah. So I feel like I would actually pick Lou Grant for fuck because she's just very beautiful, and she also is a Toreator, probably.
And also based on a madam, so probably knows what you want.
Yeah, she knows
right?
what she's doing.
She knows how to make me happy, probably.
Probably.
So I feel like when it comes to the most satisfactory option, that will be her. Mr. Damp has a low humanity, probably, so he cannot even raise it up. So I just,
Well, it depends on how loosely you define bang.
I mean, I'm not going to get I was trying to get to the stuffy part, but no. Let's leave the topic behind and talk about behind the Flugrand. So, also afterwards, once you are, falling asleep, you have very nice pillows to lay your head on. So, Flugrand is the perfect choice, and I'm going to fight over it. Mary. I really want to say Victor Goga, even though I don't know anything about him, but he kind of looks like my husband a bit. So,
That's so cute. That's so cute.
So I would say, also he's Tremere, and I like to have my husband's, very smart and knowing rituals and shit. So, marry Goga and kill Alec Cross, because killing princes is the best thing ever.
Horrible.
Okay, Prim, you're up.
Oh god, this is hard. I just looked up Lou Grand, and well, I think the choice for fuck is easy now. No, I'm actually gonna go with her. It's either her or Cross. For fuck.
I mean, Cross is hot. I agree.
Yeah, but Cross, I feel like he seems a little bit boring, missionary style.
Yeah.
But oh god, this is becoming
financial reports.
Okay, let's go with Lou Grand. Just like Josh said, she knows what she's doing. She's been at this for a couple of years. Mary Elif. She seems like an interesting person who would have a lot of nice. I would have a lot of nice conversations with.
She's probably going to betray you thousands of times because she's a Tremere.
That's fine. That's fine. There's a little bit of excitement. Sorry. I have no idea who I would kill.
That's the problem. Because
that's the hardest one.
I think the Baron, mostly because I don't like the sound of his name or their name.
Wow.
Also not a huge fan of Anarchs, although I have gotten more comfortable with them in V5. But
You Camarilla bastards.
I'm gonna say though that get back to me after I've played Bloodlines 2, and I will give you a much better answer.
I imagine my answers will change once.
We'll all have different answers then.
Yeah.
We can come back to that in another podcast.
We can. Because we were going to talk a little bit about romanceable characters, because this was not a feature, sort of. It was kind of a very simple feature in Bloodlines 1. You could get posters for Velvet Velour and some other...
No, the posters were... Okay, you could get the poster from
edition.
Velvet, but in general, posters were given to you actually by...
Gary Golden.
In the quests with the tapes. You had to find him the tape and some other things, I guess.
Tape, a wooden duck, all sorts of stupid things.
Yeah, I love the fact that the wooden duck was in the most secured place ever.
Yeah, it's in the comic. It's in Metalhead Industries or whatever it's called in Hollywood. Horrible.
And there was like super hard hacking tests to get to the freaking metal duck, and tons of like gunmen on the way to the wooden duck. It was a very weird quest line. But yeah, you could get Vivi, kind of a romance path. She said she was nice poetry if you were nice to her. Jeanette, you could bang. Which was weird because she was pretending to be a cat in that audio cutscene.
Yeah.
So it was weird. You could also bang Ramiro, but it was just basically being his hooker for a night because that's what he was into. And you could also, I guess, blood bowls, but that's not really romance. So.
No. But yeah, I kind of took it as sort of similar to the older Fallout games. Like, you could have relationships, but never really like a romanceable option, which... I would say romanceable options generally include a kind of narrative aspect aside from pick this right option and now you can have sex with them, or you can talk to them about love or something. I mean, which is cool, but it's not a dating game, but I think there will definitely be some sexy times ahead.
I'm actually wondering, because basically what it was explained to us for now is that the romances per se are not confirmed. What is confirmed is that the characters may flirt with us to get some goals. So it might not be actually very wholesome. And I would actually wonder whether there are going to be any love scenes per se. I would guess that not, because these are vampires and they don't really have sex. So
I would like to see romance options in the sense that because you're a new vampire, older vampires will know that you don't have the same frame of reference. They will, of course, exploit you, maybe pretend to be interested in you romantically, sexually, just to get you, like you said, out so to do what they want. And I think I would like that to feel like that would really get me in the mood of vampires, saying that, oh, I've just been literally tricked into doing something for someone because I'm still thinking with a human brain, I guess. But also that would kind of go the line of like kind of iffy themes, like exploitation. So I don't know if they would do that, but it certainly fits with the vampire mindset of like...
That's the problem, because exploitation is in the very root of Vampire the Masquerade and vampires in general. You exploit humans for their blood. It's very like not fun. It's basically you are using the bodies of mortals in a way that is not consensual. You can be a consensualist, but it's very rare in Vampire the Masquerade. So it just, I guess it's a theme that it has to be explored a little bit from the fantasy viewpoint, where I guess the regular sexual romances are just not a thing. It's more of a maybe an idea or a promise of a romance, like Vivi was doing. Vivi was perfect at it. She was giving you this. She wasn't really romancing you. There was no smooching or hugging involved, but she was giving you this whole idea of the romance, which is so enticing that you totally bought into it. I bought into it so much.
Oh yeah.
I was like, just sway me.
Yeah.
So I think.
I'm sorry. Good.
Fine.
I was gonna say I really like the idea of the romances because I really want to see how they do it, because I'm sure all of us have played Mass Effect or Dragon Age and how those romances are big and sweeping with the music, you know, the whole thing. But I don't want any of that in Bloodlines. I want romances, but I want to almost explore the idea of, is love possible among damned creatures? I almost want to explore that kind of idea.
I feel like there might be like at least one character which will have it more like more real feelings to it involved, which would be very funny, because I know that's Kara Ellison who is behind the writing, the half of the writing, the other half is Ryan. She's really into romances in video games, and she has very nice view sets on that. She did articles on romancing in video games, which is super interesting.
Cool.
So I know that like if you have her involved, it will be very weird not to include romances in some way. The question is, what is going to be the way that they're going to do this? And I feel like my guess is that they're going to use that in the future marketing campaign before the premiere. So we're going to hear more about this, because this is a super enticing part of Bloodlines 2, which people are waiting for.
Yeah. But like you have also the idea that less is more in romance options. Like I think like in Coteries of New York, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, I can't romance Kadir, and everyone wants to, but that just kind of generates a bunch of fan content, a bunch of fan fiction. Like people really want something that's just almost there. So I can imagine they're really going to toe the line with this.
With Coteries, I feel like we might even get the romances in the future, because the developers were very much into. They want to actually make the game, like evolve the game into something bigger and add some more stuff to it after the premiere. So I really hope that Kadir is going to be romantic.
Oh my god, me too.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the rating for the game is, because at the moment all I can see is the inappropriate for children content warning. So I guess we will have a better idea of whether there's sexual content or romance based on that, based on its rating. Like, not necessarily explicit stuff, but...
Yeah, I don't see exactly the place for the actual sexual scenes there. Maybe. It would be really fun to see them, but I just feel like vampires are not that much into boom chicka wow wow. So, do you guys feel honestly that Bloodlines? Okay, this is going to make a lot of people angry at me, but do you literally think that Bloodlines 1 would be better if Jeanette's sex scene would be shown in person?
Nope.
Thank you.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the inference of sexual contact, like for example, that scene in Bloodlines 1 definitely bumped up the rating.
Yeah.
For the game.
You have Witcher 3, which literally shows you the boom chicka wow wows.
Yeah, explicitly so.
Yeah, it was funny because I was actually doing the stream on the official GOG channel for expansion with Shani. It's Hearts of Stone, I think. And the sex scene with Shani on the boat is very explicit. Like the bits are not showing per se. Of course, her tits are showing, but it's literally just two naked people banging on the boat. And there are zooms. And I was just like main GOG channel, Twitch. And there's just like these two people doing the thing.
It goes on for a long time.
It goes for a long time. So I was just sitting there and I was like watching chat's reaction. I was like, am I going to get this channel banned or not?
I was playing Witcher 2, like I told before, to catch up, and I was like, they came to the scene in the Elven bathhouse. I was like, this is taking way too long. Like, I don't I feel weird watching this. So, but yeah.
Huge fan of sex scenes in video games. So
me neither.
I think again, less is more. I think you can certainly imply stuff happening, and I think that's better. Like the whole intro scene of Bloodlines, which is sex going on, but then you just catch the aftermath for it, and implied stuff lying around on the floor. I think that's a great way to do it without being too explicit about it.
I think BioWare games have really spoiled people into expecting big, long cinematic sex scenes in games.
Oh God.
I don't know. Like it feels a little bit juvenile for me to be into this kind of a thing because these scenes are always, they're always covered, of course, partially, and then they're also like very long and try to show you as much of the flesh as possible. It's kind of like there are sites for that. You don't have to have.
You don't gotta have it in everything.
I would argue, though, I kind of liked sex scenes, although they were not wholesome at all. They were actually very, very sad. Sex scenes in Red Embrace Hollywood, which were displayed by, there was just one picture of, your characters entwined together. And the description was very, very literal. And I mean, all the details were described, but was just written in a very nice way. It's kind of rare to see, let's say, good erotic roleplay out there. It's just usually it's extremely cringy and bad.
Yeah, I've seen you wage a war against it.
Yes, we have memes about that on our role-playing server because we had so many bad RPers that we're trying to, because we have a rule against ERP.
Yeah.
And we had tons of people who were trying to kind of circumvent that rule and write some of the very, very badly written erotica. But yeah, Red Embrace actually has these scenes which are really nicely written because they have some psychological ties to the characters, which also are just very creepy and not nice and not wholesome at all. But I liked it because it really showed this part of the Vampire the Masquerade very nicely, although it's not a Vampire the Masquerade game, which I wish it would be, because it's literally, it's screaming vampire, it's screaming V5 to me, and it just should be licensed. so yeah.
Yeah, I need to play that. I haven't been able to yet. It's a vampire, right? That's the one.
Red Embrace Hollywood.
Oh, Red Embrace Hollywood. Yeah, I saw some of your thumbnails for that.
It's the game where you date. It's a game about vampire boys, let's say, but it's very gruesome and dark.
Ooh.
And it actually shows how relationships with vampires just don't pay off very well. The game was very heavily criticized on Steam because of the seemingly lack of positive endings, which I don't really agree with, because I actually had an ending which I was very okay with. It wasn't, there's no wholesome ending in this game. There's no ending where you lived happily ever after.
Why would you expect one in a game like that?
but people were just like, it's a game which really ties you emotionally to the characters, and you really wish them well for some time, and then like very bad things happen, and some of the endings are very gruesome and very, very, very negative. But it's, again, for me, it screams V5. It screams Vampire the Masquerade, and that's what I love about the system. It's not supposed to pat you on the head and make you feel good. That's my view on that.
I mean, you all have finished Coteries of New York, right?
I haven't
At this
yet.
point. Oh my god, get on that.
Been too long.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the Let's Plays. I have another episode to push out today, and it's just...
yeah, then we won't talk about that. But we did get a request a little bit back in the chat for a bang, marry, kill for Coteries. So do we want to... Sorry for
do that. Yeah, sure.
Switching. Everyone can do that.
I can say for now on, marry Kadir. Fuck Kadir. No.
Can you do both?
Fuck. Can I fuck Agathon? He's cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That. He's nice. I like him. He's like brooding and my type. So yeah, fuck Agathon, marry Kadir, and kill Benoit. So far, I guess. The church guy. I don't like him.
He's
kill
a bit
me.
weird.
Yeah.
Huddy, do you have any?
Yeah. It's hard to pick between bang and marry for Kadir. That's an issue. But I'll pick bang Kadir. No. I'll pick marry Kadir. Wait. Bang not Agathon. Who is the guy at the church? French name.
That was
Benoit.
Benoit, yeah.
You want why?
I don't know. He's French. And who would I kill? I don't want to say in front of Outstar, but I think everybody knows who I would kill.
Oh yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
That's who I would kill.
I had some internet drop for some reason. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm having some.
You're
can you hear me?
Breaking up a little bit.
Sputtering.
Yeah. I think it's the stream going like, no, that's enough horniness for now.
Gross. Ew.
I just dropped completely for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
You seem to be back now.
You're back. Do you hear us?
1, 2, 3. I can
Hello. Yep.
hear you.
see you and hear you, but my stream is not running.
That's weird.
Yeah, because I have 0 kilobyte sent currently.
Ooh,
so let me try to get back there somehow.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And you guys can see me. Oh yeah, I think I still can see you in very low quality for some reason.
Yeah, you look low quality to us, I think.
You're a little bit glitchy on our end. Yeah.
I have very low internet connection for some reason right now. I'm not very sure why. I will try to go live again. This is going to be patched from 2 parts. Going live, trying my best, but I don't think it's working.
Yes, yeah, people are catching up now that it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, tech happens.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's no server connection.
That's weird.
I will try another server in Warsaw. Start the stream. I can't send them.
Oh no. Well,
I think my DNS just died.
Oh no.
Okay, your stream works, Josh, right?
it is still working. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to send people to your guess because my it's not working.
Yeah,
my end.
The connection to you. I mean, it might be Dennis. Might be the storm.
Oh yeah,
Causing
that's
problems.
the storm that's going on. Like I'm having a
Oh,
storm
really?
outside too. Yeah.
What storm? What?
Dennis.
Storm Dennis.
Storm Dennis?
Yep. That's the one.
That's the one.
Okay.
He's
So
coming
you
over
were gonna-
here being a menace.
Oh wait, I think it might be working. It's working.
Yeah, you're back. You're back in your chat. Yeah, I see you.
Okay, yeah, it's working now. Good.
So,
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Huddy, welcome back. Huddy
Welcome
would
back,
kill that guy. We know he's a boss. That's all we're gonna say.
Yeah, Huddy would kill that guy.
Yeah.
Huddy would kill that guy a lot, like
I would-
over and
I
over
would
and
kill
over
him a
again.
lot too. The boss is
Like 100 times.
Oh
The
yeah.
boss.
Yeah. That's all you're
We don't
gonna
want to
know.
say.
That's all you're gonna know about the boss. Terrible.
Okay.
Yeah. Josh.
fuck Hope, marry Robert, kill Kadir.
Woof. Woof. The betrayal.
Not expecting that at the end.
Betrayal. Oh, wow.
Why do you want to kill our honey boo?
Who is Robert? Was he the thin blood person?
Robert's the
Thin blood
thin blood
Primogen.
Primogen.
Okay.
He's actually kind of nice.
He's cute. Okay, he's cute. I agree.
I don't like his hair. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah, well, he looks a bit. We can fix that though. There's gel. Gel exists.
a little brushy.
Alright.
I wanna just very quickly, fuck Agathon, Mary, Kadir, brush hair, Robert.
Delightful. I love it. I was gonna say fuck Hope, but Hope is great. That's why you say bang Hope, because you don't marry Hope. But I
mean,
might
do you
actually
really
go
like
for Tamika. I like her.
I like Tamika too.
She's great.
I kind of try to wonder now how sex with Hope will look like, and I imagine her changing personalities every 5 seconds.
She's
And it might be just like very weird.
Hope is way too manic pixie dream girl for my taste. It was way too much. She leans into that way too much.
Yeah, she does get a little bit over the top at times. Tamika is great though. So fuck Tamika. Who am I gonna marry?
Kadir.
No, I'm gonna say
I was gonna say Agathon.
no. Well, you got a point there, but
Maybe someone should finally
Hold on.
marry D'Angelo, who's also very wholesome.
D'Angelo is wholesome. I'd marry him. He cares for people.
Aww.
Yeah, I'd marry him. I would kill Thomas Arturo, the harpy of the Toreador. He is horrible. I hate his little ascot. It bothers me.
Someone in the chat is saying that Hope would be busy on her phone.
Yeah.
Yes,
Totally.
that is it's fair enough.
No, it's so sad.
But death to Thomas Arturo. He is a terrible little gremlin, and I hate him.
Guys, I have an idea.
Yeah.
As we are on this topic, we probably should do the same for Bloodlines 1.
Ooh.
And at the same time, talk about who do you think is going to appear from Bloodlines 1 in Bloodlines 2.
Good topic.
Oh, yes. Well, if you want to know my thoughts, then you can watch a video that I've already made. I'll let everyone go first, since I've got that out there, but I can go on to that. Yeah. Who do you want to come up in Bloodlines 2 that you've already seen?
Beckett.
Solid choice.
Solid.
That's
Solid.
that's really the only person I'm really hoping to see. Oh, can I just say, no, I know you guys are probably not caught up on LA by Night because you're not insane like I am, but Beckett was mentioned in LA by Night.
Oh,
Super exciting.
Great.
Because he was only mentioned one time before when they were in revolutionary France, so that one doesn't really count. But he was mentioned in modern times, and apparently Carver and Beckett are buddies.
Oh, I love it.
holy
Of
crap!
course they are.
Yeah. I think, Josh, of course they are.
I really want to have like guests playing Beckett. That would be so awesome.
I want Matthew Mercer
love
playing
it.
Beckett. Is
Yes.
that crazy?
Yes.
Be very cool.
He would
Is that
be
that's not
amazing
crazy?
For Beckett. No, he
No,
would be
that's not crazy.
Amazing for Beckett.
So since Huddy went on and fangirled about LA by Night last time, I have since caught up with the new season.
Yes.
So I'm starting to understand what you were on about now.
Check out the
We
previous
understand
episode.
each other now.
We
I
talked a
actually
lot about
just-
LA by Night. Yeah,
I
sorry. I'm sorry.
watched the last episode where they heard that Eva is doing some shenanigans in there.
Eve?
Eve,
Who-
yeah.
Oh yeah.
some
She's
shenanigans.
up to her usual shenanigans.
Yeah, with like grenades or
Yeah.
stuff. So
Oh, Eva. Sorry.
Eva.
Eva.
I mean,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah. So I heard some shenanigans are happening in there. I was just like,
Well,
oh.
some shenanigans are happening between Jasper and Eva, but that's neither here nor there.
There was a poll about what Victor did as well on Twitter, but I'm not gonna spoil
Yeah,
it.
because he dominated the team, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, he mesmerized them, made them step out of the. I made a review about it. It's coming out tomorrow, but I'm on Victor's side. I don't hold my ideals so black and white.
Team Victor in this case. I'm gonna step in now and say who I want to see in Bloodlines 2, I'd like to see Gary Golden, this famous Hollywood superstar. I can't do his voice, but Jason Carl doing Gary Golden, that's what I want to see in Bloodlines 2.
Yeah, that's something else I have to say.
Yeah.
Gary Golden, I guess canonically, since LA by Night is canon, is feeling the pull to the Beckoning.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. I was so upset.
Isaac, I know him, and
Yeah.
oh no,
Oh,
Gary.
it is so great. He was my favorite NPC of, or he is my favorite NPC of LA by Night. That isn't played by another actor. I mean,
He's awesome.
yeah, I love him.
Well, I can't tell you much about who I think is going to appear based on what I know so far, Watch Being Pursued. Well, when it comes to who I want to appear, I would say Jack, Smiling Jack.
Smiling Jack,
Mhm,
yeah, I
mhm.
can see that.
Also a solid choice.
What if there's like some shenanigans and Pisha appears? That would be fun.
Ooh, she is
Yep.
a fan favorite.
I think
I
a lot
really
of people
like
want to see Pisha reappear just because she's so cool and mysterious and has a lot of space to be explored as a character that
A lot of
wasn't in the first
people,
game.
Watch my video about what happened with the characters of Bloodlines 1, and I did say in the video that Jack is dead, but that was in the book, which was retconned. I mean, retconned. It's
He is
just
not. He is not dead.
He's
is
not dead.
No,
Not
he's,
anymore.
No. Beckett's Jihad Diary has an entire chapter.
He's in Africa,
Yeah.
according to the
Libertatia.
new law.
Yes.
What is the name of his child? It escapes
Oh.
me.
Jenna Cross from that.
Yes.
Yeah, Jihad, the Gehenna book. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the Jenna Cross. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and everyone's saying Officer Chunk. Obviously, we can
Yes.
have Officer Chunk or one of his many brothers turn up. I'm sure that would be possible.
Okay, so fuck, marry, kill. I have to put
Chunk,
Chunk,
chunk.
somewhere. Chunk.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh boy.
I mean, a lot of people want to see Ming Jiao as well.
Yeah, she's
because
cool.
They want Kuai-Jin, but it's not going to happen probably because Kuai-Jin
No.
are not. They have to be redone
From the
very,
ground
very
up,
much
yeah.
for the ground up to appear in any future Vampire the Masquerade settings. And I really hope they will be redone by people who know more about the culture of said nations.
Agreed.
So yeah. But about the FMK thing, damn, that's going to be difficult. I would say for the fuck part, Vivi,
Mhm.
like clearly, she exactly the same reason that I would give for Legrand. Like she would know what to do to make you feel good. So it's a perfect choice. Mary Beckett. Although, like, I gotta say, yesterday on stream I was talking about that. I had a very huge crush on Beckett when I started playing Vampire the Masquerade when I was a teenager.
Mhm.
I had an immense crush on this guy. And when I am replaying the game now, I kind of am happy that my taste in men kind of evolved because he was such a condescending bastard.
Yeah.
Like such a smack piece of ass. And, you know, like I was this kind of a teenager that was very much into these smart asses. Like if someone was smarter than me, it didn't matter that they are egocentric, that they don't look very good or anything like that, because they were smart. And I was just like, you know, my taste was just very questionable because of that, I would say.
Big fan of ass. Got it.
Yeah. So I would just say that if he can sometimes agree with someone else and stop talking, then Beckett.
I don't see that happening.
Shit. Then Heather. No, Heather. I would be Beckett to Heather, so no. Yeah, but Beckett would be fun. And kill LaCroix, obviously.
Obviously. Difficult. Oh man, this is difficult. Someone else do it. I'm going through the list right now. you guys have played it
Someone
way more
else
than I
go.
have.
It's not a test. There's no wrong answers.
I know, but I need to think. I need to go back down memory lane and try to figure out who to pick.
I can go. So obviously same as Outstar, VB for fucking or banging, excuse me. I'd marry Chunk, obviously, because he's my cherry red gummy man.
Yeah.
And who I'd kill? The list is so long of who I'd kill, but probably Amalia, just because she's horrendously horrible, awful, kindred. She's terrible.
I mean, she has a reason to be terrible.
You know, most Nosferatu have a reason to be terrible. She's just extra about it.
That's true.
She's horrible.
That's true.
I like her.
Can we say like bank, marry, kill, adopt? Because I want to adopt that poor llama.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to adopt it. I want to give it a good home. And just never let it into Hollywood again.
I can't believe no one said, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I can't believe I didn't say bang for, I might for Pisha.
I mean,
maybe not.
She
might smell like death.
Yeah,
you know what
happened?
I haven't seen that dialogue option before, but when I was playing the display for Now of Low Humanity, there's a dialogue option where you actually approach her and the first thing you say to her, you have some tissue hanging down your chin or something.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
all right.
Oh yeah, Nines Rodriguez.
Yes, I was just going to say that. I'm going to marry Nines because he's brilliant.
I don't get it.
I don't either. Oh
Everyone in my comments
I don't either.
was like, but Josh, as someone who doesn't fancy men, you don't understand. I just totally don't get it. Everyone else will get it from Nines. That's fine.
I like Nines because of his personality. I like his outlook on life. And when he was in LA by Night, I was like,
well, yeah, Louis
Nines.
Carezzo, or if that's how you say his name correctly, is hot.
He's great as Nines, though. Like his introduction, he was amazing. But Mary Nines, fuck. Oh, this is a tough one.
Everyone.
Andre.
Andre.
Yeah.
Get freaky.
Yeah, freaky. He can be whatever I want him to be. And the kill.
He's a walking and talking about dragon toy. I'm just saying.
Yeah. What's there not to love? So, who would I kill? I mean, Stanley Gimbel, but that's not really fair because he's already dead. The guy with the prosthetics.
Yeah.
I mean, so is LaCroix.
That's true.
Yeah. Most of the characters are already dead.
That's true.
If you were into freaky, why kill Gimbal? Why not freaking, drag Andre and Gimbal together to the bedroom if you want to have a freaky night?
Who knows? I think I would like to kill Strauss, actually.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I would like to kill Strauss.
Good luck.
Mostly because I want to see him lose his composure. I want to see him lose his cools.
You can actually attack him in Bloodlines, which I tried, and
that probably didn't work
react.
out.
No, he doesn't react. You can just basically smash him, and he just stands there. And yeah,
oh my god,
it's pretty fun. There are a lot of fun fictions with Andre. If you guys are interested in that,
I've seen some of them.
I don't know.
They are weird.
Yep, they're very weird.
Very weird.
They're very BDSM stuff. A lot of it.
It's all good.
And about Pisha, I feel like everything is fun, but the smell wouldn't be.
Yeah, the smell would be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Josh.
Yeah. Okay. So I have two lists. One is wholesome. One is not. The wholesome one is fuck Ming Xiao, marry damsel, and kill Nox.
You want to marry damsel? She's going to kill you over leaving some milk in the fridge.
I don't know. She's got a heart of gold. I kind of like that.
Aww, that's adorable.
And the not so wholesome one is fuck Grunfeld back, marry Gary Golden, and kill I don't know who's a favorite.
Kane.
Oh, Rosa the thing.
Oh yeah.
Kill her. Wow.
That's it. The Grunfeld Bach one. That's interesting. I feel like it's the same thing with Cross, where it would be all missionary position, but maybe not.
Well, it would make sense. It would be thematic for him.
I can't see anything that would make me ever want to step into the abode of Mr. Grunfeld Bach. I want to hear your reasoning. Why?
Mostly because I find his accent very amusing.
I
want to hear him say things, dirty talk.
German
in that
people
accent.
in chats. You are
made that face, Primogen.
to Josh.
Yeah.
It's funny. What about Redemption?
No one.
I have played.
No one. None at all.
Why? What about Serena?
I was gonna say Serena would be the only one.
Fine, the only one.
I would actually fuck Lily, marry Serena, and kill Pink. Probably.
Oof, I like Pink.
No, he's horrible.
He said he, Azamite crazy. Isn't that how he says it? Devnall. He hints at him being an Azamite, I think.
Yeah,
About
he
how
does.
came. We're getting some questions if this is how the stream is going to end. With
I
us
love
talking
the
about
Onyx.
who we're
The
gonna
Onyx
bang.
Path's comment say, "Have fun banging your way through every vampire."
Yeah.
Like, why do we always have to resort to these topics in this podcast?
Because we're horny on May.
Because we're horny on
Yeah.
Maine.
It's
That's the reason.
no horny on me.
it's the naughty podcast.
Yeah.
I do like the get thee behind me, demon.
I have one question though, because we've seen a bunch of many different kind of vampire games out now. We've got board game coming up, board card game coming up. We've got coteries. We've got Bloodlines. What kind of game would you like to see for Vampire the Masquerade?
Ooh.
If you got to like push money into a project and have
That
it
hasn't
developed.
already
That
isn't
hasn't
already
been
coming.
made. Yeah.
I don't know about a game, but the thing I'm most looking forward to is a Sabbat book.
Ooh,
That I'm most looking forward to.
that would be great. Yeah.
I am going to be controversial here. You may say this era is over. I don't think so. I want a secret world-like MMORPG in the World of Darkness.
We think you mentioned that in the first stream too.
Yeah.
That's what you really want.
It would be amazing. Yeah.
I would just not live anymore. I would just move my life into Second Life.
These
Secret
headphones.
World's still going, right?
Secret World Legends.
Yeah. There's a new version of it.
But
Yeah.
it's not an MMO really. It's just like a more enclosed space game.
Ooh, Josh is really considering this. Look at that hard thinking face.
I don't
Racing
actually
sim.
know. Possibly some sort of like Football Manager, but for vampires.
Oh no, that's actually pretty
It's
cool.
Yeah, that's
Like
cool.
a strategy
I thought
kind
that'd
of
be
a
cool.
game where you
I
have,
can see that actually.
where you have factions fighting.
Yeah, you
for
build a
power.
coterie and then you send them around.
Yeah.
like cultist simulator kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. That was my idea that I was going to use, but I have a backup idea. I would love to have another visual novel type game.
Yes.
More well developed, of course.
With romance.
Which would start out way back in history. Like you would play this vampire through history. A very long game, like maybe released in chapters, and you would eventually like you would have to make some really tough decisions. You would grow in power. You would maybe become a prince. So something like very interactive visual novel type game, but with some research management aspects would be cool to play it. Like to get into the mindset of playing an elder, I think would be cool.
You mean
No.
like they could start it off in Dark Ages and it
Oh, yeah.
could be released in
Yeah.
chapters
Yeah, that
going
would be
forward in
cool.
time?
That would be cool. Like something like a Telltale's game, but with
Oh.
more either like that or a visual novel, something like that. But just
So you're going to enjoy the game by the console devs, Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song.
yes,
This
I
is
am.
going to be
I am
like
looking
that.
forward to that. I am very much looking forward to that. I started playing console a little bit after your recommendation. I loved it, but I need time to get into it.
Yeah.
So I would love that game, and with some resource management as well, of course.
I have another idea. Bear with me because this is the most awesome idea on the planet, and there's no better idea. I'm going to fight over it. Disco Elysium Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh, I thought.
Same devs,
Nice.
same kind of a writing, but Vampire the Masquerade world. That would be so
Sounds
good.
great. Sounds
I would take anything Vampire the Masquerade at this point.
even
Honestly.
a racing game.
Yeah, whatever.
Golf.
I'm down.
Like a Mario Kart, which is
Oh,
like-
I'm so down for
Oh my
that.
god, a
That'd be
golf
good.
game.
Just a bobblehead LaCroix just in a
Yes.
cart. Just like,
Yes. Give it to me, I'll play it.
Arcade Fighter, where you fight like Mr. Dumb versus like
Yep.
Croy. It's like,
Yeah.
Or like someone said, Vampire the Masquerade party game like Mario Party.
Yeah.
Mini games.
Or even like you're like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing where it's all scary and stuff.
Oh.
Go for it. With Mr. Tam popping up everywhere. Go for it.
I would like to have a hunter game where you play as a mortal trying to get into this world and dealing with all manners of supernatural. Something like what was it? Is it called Taxi Driver? Or where you play a taxi driver trying to fight a guy who almost killed you? Something like that, but as a hunter.
I don't know.
Oh God, what's that game called? Basically, you're a taxi driver. You get shot, and you wake up a couple of months later, and you're supposed to try to figure out who it was that tried to kill you. So you drive your taxi around, you take people around, and you kind of. It's a bit of a visual novel style game with like choices. That would be cool though, like playing a hunter, trying to get into that, like an XCOM game as hunters, maybe XCOM-esque kind of game would be cool too.
That'd be fun.
A hunter's game would be cool, actually.
Yeah.
Suggestion from chat. Has everyone seen House Party?
Yes.
The game where you're at a house party and you have to like do like gross quests for people.
How's it going, dude?
How's it going, dude?
How's it going, dude?
You staying away from the bulls? Yeah, that but all
I
Bloodlines
hate
characters.
House Party. But yeah.
That but vampires.
Yeah.
Well, now I have to play it since you guys all hate it.
But it would be
not a
cool.
good game.
But yeah, I think it's a pretty good note to end it on because we have been streaming for over 2 hours and we have squeezed every last drop of information we can sort of out of Bloodlines 2. So we don't have a date for it yet, right?
No.
No. Somewhere this year, apparently.
December 31st.
Probably. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad, really. Take the time.
Take your
same.
time.
Yeah.
Same. So, yeah.
It was really fun to speculate with you guys, and I hope we're going to get some more drops of information in the future, so we can get some more speculations out of that. And if you want to have your source of speculations right now, watch Vain Pursuit. I'm going to repeat it for the 5th time on the stream, but yeah,
it's a great stream.
There are some drops when it comes to Bloodlines 1 and 2 and whatever's in between. So I feel like what Karim said in the introduction is kind of true. If you are careful enough in watching, you're going to get even more information. So yeah.
Perfect. And on that note, thank you everyone for watching. Go check out Josh's videos about romance. Is that what you had? Romanceable characters?
Returning
What
characters.
characters will turn up?
Oh, right. Sorry.
Between games.
Turn up, be romanceable.
Maybe.
Same.
I mean, yeah. Same thing.
Outstar had videos on romanceable
That's true.
characters.
Go check stuff out. Go catch Vain Pursuit. Go catch Blood. Josh.
City.
Blood.
Oh, Sun-Kissed tomorrow.
Sun-Kissed.
And then Tuesday is
the last episode of Chicago Stories.
Oh.
So there's plenty of time to catch up. There's only going to be 4 episodes in total. So who knows if our coterie of Methuselah hunters will actually find a Methuselah. Wouldn't it be crazy if they did?
Because we're not.
You're basically digging the ground everywhere in the city right now. And just like trying to find a coffin.
Well, I might have dropped some hints to one of you. So we'll see what happens. And until next time, which will be in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Bye.